Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to From the Shed. And it's been a couple of days. First of all, I've been ill, super ill, but we're back. We've also had the international break. Romeo Lavia, injured again. We're going to get into all of that, plus the Spurs preview, my predicted lineup for tomorrow night's game. But let's start with the news. Enzo Maresca has broken this morning as part of his press conference. Romeo Lavia has now had another injury, a recurring injury into what was already an injury-riddled season for the player. Another hamstring injury. Apparently, Enzo Maresca has said that we don't know how severe that injury will be. Potentially could be days, could be weeks. We don't know. Tests will determine all of that over the next couple of days. But this is really alarming for a player that has cost over 50 million for Chelsea. And we're still not getting the best out of him. We're still not seeing the best of Romeo Lavia. It's not looking good for him, I'll be honest. And it goes back to that point that I know a lot of Chelsea fans made in January. Go and get Leslie Ogunchukwu. We call him back from his loan deal. Go and get Andre Santos from Strasbourg back. Because we needed some depth. We need some strength in that midfield. We have got probably one of the most busiest finishes to a season in a long time. And for more so for this season, we know what's at stake. We know that Champions League football's there waiting. You know, we've got to get in that top four. We can't realistically rely on top five. We want to be in that top four. Nottingham Forest beat Man United last night. They edged that gap a little bit between third and fourth. So we have to, this is a massive period in Chelsea season. And for us to lose a player that I don't think went on international duty, has just come back from a long-term injury and is now injured again. I'm trying to understand where and how you get injured. At what point in your life do you turn up to Cobham, you do a bit of weights, you do a bit of leg work, you do a bit of body work, you do your shoulders, you kick a football around, and you end up getting injured with a hamstring? Serious questions have to be asked here because, like I said, a player that's cost us 53 million. I'm going to reel off some stats for you. I'm going to reel off these stats right now. So Romeo Lavia has made 14 appearances for Chelsea. This is since he signed in August 18th, 2023. He's made 14 starts. 14 matches he's played, 9 starts. 5 of those have been of a substitution appearance. That equates to approximately 600 minutes. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Here's where it gets a bit tricky for us fans at Chelsea. Just brace yourself for this one. But he has not completed a full 90-minute match in any of those appearances. Any of those appearances. We have not seen Romeo Lavia complete 90 minutes of football in nearly 2 years. In nearly 2 years. He goes on to say more. He has played more than 45 minutes in only 7 matches. No goals, 1 assist. We all remember his debut, December. Crystal Palace. He lasted 32 minutes and was out for the remainder of the season. It is worrying. It is massive. It's a massive worry now because what I don't want Chelsea to go out and do, and we will probably do this, we will go out and do this, but I don't want us to go out and buy just another midfielder. We're spending money and the players that we're bringing in aren't good enough, clearly. But we've got players out like Ogunchukwu. We need to give him a chance. Andre Santos had a brilliant season so far at Strasbourg. We have to give these guys a chance now. Let's not waste any more money. We know what our priorities are in the summer. I say all the time on this channel, goalkeeper, defender, striker. Those are the 3, for me personally, my top 3. We don't need to go and essentially go and buy a midfielder. Now, I'm hoping we can get Lavia and it isn't a massive injury and hopefully he is back before the season ends. But even if he's not, he still has to come in and hopefully compete in the Club World Cup, play a bit of pre-season football and get himself ready for next season. And if we can keep him fit, very similar to Reece James, if we can keep these 2 players fit, then we have 2 good players on our hands. If we can't keep them fit, then we've signed a massive dud. And Man City, the real winners out of this transfer from Southampton, because they recouped, I think, 20 million, from the deals that have been done for Lavia since he left Man City. So it's alarming. It's alarming because, we've just got a clean bill of health almost with Nicholas Jackson returning, Wesley Fofana, Cole Palmer, Noni Madueke, all back in the team. And now all of a sudden, Injuries again. Injuries for walking up the steps in Cobham, pulling your hamstring. It's just another thing to add to the mess that this club is currently going through at the moment. And you have to wonder, should we have recalled one of the two? Should we have recalled Ogunchukwu? Should we have got Andre Santos back? Give us some more depth. Give us some more options off the bench. Give us some more options starting. The team that's going to start. We know that Amagu isn't going to be playing a lot of football this season for us. So you have to question some of the decisions that are being made upstairs at the top. What I don't want us to do is to look at this whole thing now and see that Lavia's only played 40 matches in just under 2 years, and then go and sign another midfielder who then isn't good enough, or we then have Lavia who is fully fit next season. What do you do with the new? So there's so many things that we've got to get right in the summer. And for me personally, assessing who needs to go in the summer, who needs to be moved on, who needs to have a good preseason, and I throw Reece James into that category as well. They have to be the ones that we rely on next season, especially if we get to Champions League football. I don't think anyone's doubting Lavia's capability and his ability to play football. I really don't. I think he's a really good player, but to only have played 14 matches and start 9 of them since August 2023 isn't good enough at any level. It doesn't matter if you're Chelsea or Scunthorpe. That ain't good enough. So things have to change there. 100% things have to change there. Now, we do have a big game coming up tomorrow night. Now, we know about international breaks. We know how usually Chelsea come back from an international break and things dip. We don't normally play the best football. We don't play the best that we can. Now, I'm hoping that changes tomorrow. We have a really good record against Spurs at Stamford Bridge. And it's Spurs. Do I need to add that in there? It's Spurs. We should not be losing to these guys. Like I said before the international break, we shouldn't lose the way that we did to Arsenal. We shouldn't be losing to Spurs either, especially at Stamford Bridge. Now, the key pluses, as I mentioned just before, Cole Palmer, Noni Madueke, Wesley Fofana, and Nicholas Jackson have all been back in training for just over a week now. So that is giving me a bit of hope. We need to keep all those guys fit for the rest of the season. But if we can, and they are fit, they have to go straight back into the starting 11 tomorrow night. I don't want to see them. They've been in training. I don't want to see them on the bench. They have to be in the team. They have to be in the team, in the starting 11. Because at this point in the season now, it's so crucial for us to not lose any more points. Spurs have had a really poor season overall. When you look how Ange's had a lot more defeats than I think he expected to get at the start of the season. But we cannot afford to drop points tomorrow. It can't happen. It can't happen. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing Wesley Fofana back. Nicholas Jackson, who feels like he's had the longest period out for the time that we've had these players injured. But I want to see what Nicholas Jackson comes back and does. I think in some ways it was probably a bit of a blessing that he got injured because there was a lot of scrutiny, a lot of pressure on him. As a striker, I'm one of them. I gave him a lot of sort of criticism over the time, but I think sometimes when you're taking out the limelight, you're rested, you're given opportunities to rest. The same with Cole Palmer. These players have been playing a lot of football over the last 12 months. So I think if they can come back fresh as well, rejuvenated, and kick on the rest of this season now, all will tell us that tomorrow night. All of that will be told tomorrow night because I want to see the Cole Palmer that we got to see last season and the start of this season. The one that before he got injured and he was looking just laggy and, shots were just going over the bar, wide. He was snatching at chances. That's not the Cole Palmer we need to see tomorrow. We need to see the Cole Palmer that was affecting games, looking for that key pass, taking on defenders, scoring goals, being clinical in front of goal. And the same for Nicholas Jackson. If you remember back to the game last season, he went on to score the hat-trick when Spurs was sent down to 9 men. So we know that there's opportunity for us to be able to capitalise on some of the things that are working in our favour with players returning back. But we also have to look at Spurs. They're there for the taking. They were there for the taking before the international break. They're still there for the taking. We have to go out there and prove ourselves that we can do the team justice as well. The fans justice. The fans deserve this after the last couple of weeks. So yeah, we need to go into this one. I'm going to predict my lineup. My predicted lineup will be a very strong Chelsea squad. It has to be. I don't want to see the injured players or the players that have come back from injury sat on the bench. They've been in training. Cole Palmer didn't go to international duty. I'm pretty sure, obviously, some of the others didn't. I know Fofana, I don't think did. Noni Madueke wasn't in the England squad either. So some of these players have just been at Cobham getting themselves ready for this game. They should be ready to kick on and just be ready to kick the ball. I'm gonna have to stick with Sanchez in goal. I'd be shocked to see. I'd be shocked to see anyone else in goal apart from Sanchez. I think we won't see anyone but him in goal. It's a difficult one because I feel like Maresca is still unsure about both goalkeepers. Jorgensen just doesn't seem to be the one that's favoured. He had a couple of games in between the sticks, but I think Sanchez will be starting tomorrow. Now, obviously Reece James has been playing in midfield for Maresca. I think he'll still be doing that role, but I think naturally we'll start him as a right back and he'll invert into the midfield. So I think I'm going to go Reece James as right back. I'm not sure about Malo Gusto as well, if he's even back fit or ready to kick on for tomorrow. But Reece James will start at right back. I am bringing Wesley Fofana and Levi Colwill back into my centre-back partnership. Good options off the bench in terms of Chalobah. Badiashile, I think, is now back fit as well. So we have options off the bench if we need it. If there's, Fofana can't sustain, playing the 45 minutes, we've got Badiashile, we've got Chalobah that can come on as well. So going for them. Left back, I've gone for Marc Cucurella, who I think has been our player of the season. Very outstanding performances he's been putting in. So again, why change it? And also, we don't have another left back in the team to bring in. So it is going to have to be Marc Cucurella. Now, the two midfield, Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, I have to flag this straight away. Moises Caicedo cannot and still cannot get booked. I can't remember when the threshold changes for when the yellow cards reduce back down, but he's still one yellow card away from a 2-match ban. And yes, he's probably, I said before the international break, we wanted him to be playing in the derbies with Arsenal and Spurs, but you still need him anyway after that. Discipline is going to be key for him tomorrow night. So we need to make sure that, Moises Caicedo is protected in all areas. He isn't rash with his challenges and he's got the support around him. And we need to make sure that we keep him as long in the game as possible rather than losing for the next 2 Premier League fixtures. But I've gone for, this is where it gets tricky for me. I've gone for Pedro Neto on the left, Cole Palmer as the 10, and I'm bringing Noni Madueke back into the team. And I'm not his biggest fan. I'm not the biggest Noni Madueke fan, but I want to see what he can do after an injury. And if he comes back, as I said, rejuvenated, ready to kick on, then let's put him back in the team. And then we do have Jadon Sancho off the bench, who I still think there's question marks about him, whether Maresca wants him. During the international break, we got to see the inquiries about how we can send him back to Manchester United. But I think Pedro Neto, for me, off the left, offers you a little bit more. I know that Maresca said he prefers him on the right or as a 9 when Jackson was injured. But I think let's put him on the left. Let's put Noni Madueke back on the right. Let's see what those two can do. Cole Palmer in the middle. Let's hope Cole Palmer's fresh again and back to his usual self. And then number 9 has to be Nicholas Jackson. It has to be Nicholas Jackson. Again, I don't know how far Mark Gu is away from being fully fit, but we have to have a number 9 in the team. We have to have a striker, a goal scorer, or a expected goal scorer in the team. We can't afford to keep playing these false 9s and expecting things to change. And I think the width that we'll have with Pedro Neto and Noni Madueke should hopefully give Nicholas Jackson something to feed off in the box as well. So I am looking forward to seeing these players return. I really am, because I think we've missed them. You look back to some of the fixtures where we've just scraped over the line, or we've not looked as good. Go back to the Arsenal game as well, where things just didn't work out for us. So this has to be the turning point, the final couple of hurdles in the season, where we have to do something, and we have to turn up as well. Can't afford to lose the Spurs, so I'm going to end this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. We are on the way to 800 subscribers, so make sure you smash that subscribe button. You leave your thoughts in the comments and you hit that Linktree link before you leave. And let's hope for 3 points tomorrow, and we'll be back with a match review after the game. Thanks for watching.